Hello, I'm Gordon Lang, editor of CameraLabs.com. I'd like to give you a brief video tour around the Panasonic Lumix DMC-TZ7. Here it is, the TZ7, or as it's known in North America, the Lumix ZS3. This camera is the successor to the best-selling Lumix TZ5, and like that model it packs a super zoom range into a pocketable form factor. So what's new with this model? The already powerful 10 times optical zoom range of the earlier TZ5 has now been extended at both ends to an even more impressive 12 times range. This takes you from an unusually wide angle equivalent of 25mm all the way to a very respectable telephoto reach of 300mm. So you could go from shooting a wide angle landscape to pulling in some really distant detail. Round the back is the same 3-inch 460K monitor as its predecessor, and while a high screen resolution won't make any difference to the final image quality, it certainly looks really nice, especially when you're playing back images. Like all compact cameras these days, the TZ7 or ZS3 of course features face detection, which you can see in action right now. But Panasonic has enhanced it on this model with face recognition. This actually allows you to register up to 6 faces and also include a name and date of birth if desired with each of them. Then when the camera recognises that person, it displays their name under or above their face, which hopefully you can see right now, and it will also give that person priority in a group shot with other people. Like its predecessor, the Lumix TZ7 or ZS3 can record HD movies in the 720p format, and you're watching an example of one right now. I'm stood about 2 feet in front of the camera, and the sound you can hear is that recorded by its built-in microphones. However, the resolution may be the same as the earlier TZ5, but the new model has one very different feature, and that's the choice of encoding formats. You can actually choose to encode your HD movies in either the older motion JPEG or the newer AVC HD format, and there's advantages to both of them. The older format is quicker and easier to edit on your computer, but the newer format is roughly twice as efficient given the same quality and at the highest bitrate of 17 megabits per second. So this means you get longer recording times. And if you record in the AVC HD format and you have a compatible Panasonic TV, you can also insert your card straight into the set and start watching your video on that. Now let's see a few of the different ways you could use this video in practice. This first sequence was filmed with the TZ7 or ZS3 mounted on a tripod and smoothly panning from left to right, and as you can see there's plenty of fine detail in this clip. Now thankfully you can also optically zoom the lens while filming. You've seen it earlier on in this video, and here it is again, going from 25mm to an equivalent of 300mm. However, zooming while you're filming can cause some focusing issues, as I'll now show you in this next sequence. This is a handheld shot, and as you can see when I zoom in there, the image went slightly out of focus. It's only just coming back into focus now. And if I zoom back out again, you can see the image again drifting in and out of focus. Now this is a little bit annoying, but there are some ways around it, and I'll show you those in just a moment. But before doing that, let's go from the widest angle equivalent of 25mm here and zoom all the way back into its maximum telephoto, an equivalent of 300mm. And again, while I go through that whole zoom range, you can see the focusing drifting in and out slightly. Now in this next sequence I've disabled continuous autofocus in the video mode and also the pre-AF mode, and you can see now that when I optically zoom the lens it stays mostly in focus. That drifting has gone, although if you look very closely you'll see that at the end of that sequence the subject wasn't 100% sharp. Of course the other thing you can do is not optically zoom at all, in which case the TZ7 is absolutely fine. On top of that you also get an HDMI port, closer focusing in macro mode, and an extra megapixel. Now let's take a closer look at the TZ7's controls. Externally, the new TZ7 or ZS3 greatly resembles its predecessor, although look closely and you'll spot a few differences. First of all, on the top surface you'll now see that the stereo microphones. This is for the movie mode. You'll also notice that the main mode dial is shifted all the way to the right hand side here, although there's still a reasonable size grip to get your fingers around here. Around the back of the camera there's still that quality 3-inch screen, but you'll also notice here a dedicated button here for firing up the movie mode. If I return back to the main mode dial you'll see there's no position for movie recording here. Just press this button whenever you want to start recording video. And finally, if we have a look at the ports here, you'll see that alongside this multi-port here, which offers a TV